So, Ava, welcome back to the show. Today's topic is something I've been really wrestling with lately, failure. Not in a, oh my God, I messed up kind of way, but actually turning it into like a rocket booster. How does that even work?
Hey Andrew, great to be here. Honestly, it's a concept I stumbled upon a few years back after a massive pitching flop. I was completely gutted, ready to throw in the towel. But then I realized that gutted feeling actually contains some incredible information. It's about reframing the experience.
That's interesting. It's so easy to just spiral down, isn't it? I know I did after that freelance project went south. Just wanted to bury myself under a duvet. What's the first step beyond just acknowledging the failure?
For me, it was brutal honesty. I didn't beat myself up, but I spent a full day dissecting why it went wrong. What assumptions did I make? Where did I fall short? No blaming, just pure analysis. It's like a forensic investigation of your own mistakes.
Okay, that makes sense. Detached observation. That's different than wallowing. So, once you've identified the why, what then? Is there a specific process you use to actually use it?
Absolutely. I then started asking myself, what did I learn? Every failure, no matter how big, contains a lesson. Maybe it was about market research. Maybe it was about my own self-doubt. Writing those lessons down is key. It makes them tangible.
I can see the value in that. It's like creating a personal database of mistakes. But it's still got to feel productive, right? Because if you're just listing failures, it feels depressing.
Exactly. That's where the fuel part comes in. I translate those lessons into actionable strategies. If it was about procrastination, I'd implement time blocking. If it was about scope creep, I'd learn to set firmer boundaries.
So, it's not just knowledge. It's actively using it to mitigate future problems. That's a really powerful shift in perspective. I've definitely fallen into the trap of thinking, I failed because I'm just not good enough.
That's the biggest hurdle, isn't it? And it's completely irrational. Everyone fails. Successful people fail more because they're taking bigger risks and pushing boundaries. The key is how you respond.
Right? That's a really important point. It's not about avoiding failure. It's about changing your relationship with it. I've been trying to look at setbacks as opportunities to get more targeted with my marketing efforts.
That's brilliant. It's about identifying the specific thing that didn't work and then adjusting your approach. Don't just say that campaign failed. Say, the messaging wasn't resonating with that particular demographic.
Okay, I'm really getting this now. It's about granular analysis and then proactively adapting. It's almost like a constant feedback loop. Has this approach helped you with bigger setbacks too?
Definitely. I had a major client cancel a project last year, devastating at the time. But applying this framework, I realized it was partly due to my lack of upfront clarity on their needs. I used that to refine my client intake process, which has dramatically reduced scope creep on all my projects.
Wow, that's a fantastic example. It just reinforces the idea that even the biggest failures can be incredibly valuable when approached with this kind of mindset. What's one quick piece of advice you'd give someone who's currently feeling completely defeated after a failure?
Don't make any major decisions about your future based on that one moment. Take a step back, breathe, and remind yourself that this isn't the end of your story. It's just a chapter.
That's incredibly powerful. Ava, this has been a really insightful conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your perspective and your experiences. Where can people learn more about your work?
You can find me on Instagram at Ava Creative Solutions, and my website is creativesolutions.com. And, of course, check out the show notes for links to resources we mentioned.
I've always been fascinated by people who seem to thrive after facing failure. How do you think they do it?
Well, for me, it's all about perspective. When we fail, it's easy to get caught up in the negative emotions and feel like we've hit rock bottom. But what if we looked at it as a chance to learn and grow instead?
That makes sense. I've had my share of failures too, but I often find myself beating myself up over them. Do you think that's part of the problem?
Definitely. When we're focused on self-criticism, it's hard to see any value in the experience. But what if instead of dwelling on what went wrong, we tried to identify what went right? What skills or strengths did we use during the failure?
That's a great point. I've definitely struggled with that part, trying to find a silver lining. Do you have any strategies for doing so?
Yeah, one thing that helps me is to reframe my thoughts. Instead of thinking I failed, I try to say I learned. It's a small shift in language, but it can make all the difference.
That makes sense. I've heard of the phrase failure is fuel before. What do you think about that concept?
Oh, I love it. When we view failure as fuel, it means we're not letting it hold us back, but instead using it to propel ourselves forward. It's a powerful mindset shift.
Exactly. And it's interesting because when we adopt this mindset, we start to see that every experience, including failures, is an opportunity for growth and learning.
Absolutely. And I think that's where resilience comes in. When we develop the skills to bounce back from setbacks, we become more confident and self-assured.
Resilience is key, isn't it? What are some practical tips you'd recommend for building resilience?
Well, one thing that works for me is to focus on what I can control, my attitude, my mindset. Instead of getting caught up in external circumstances, I try to stay centered and focused.
That's really helpful advice. And what about when we're facing failure? What do you think we should be doing instead of giving up?
That's a great question. For me, it's all about self-compassion. When we're feeling overwhelmed or discouraged, we need to take care of ourselves and remind ourselves that it's okay to not know everything.
Self-compassion is so important. And I think that's where gratitude comes in. Practicing gratitude can help shift our focus away from what's lacking and towards what we already have.
Exactly. Gratitude is a powerful tool for shifting our perspective. When we focus on the good things in our lives, it's easier to see that failure isn't the end of the world, but just a stepping stone on our journey forward.
That's such a great point. I feel like I've learned so much from you today. Ava, thanks for sharing your insights.
Thank you, Andrew. It's been a pleasure chatting with you and exploring this topic together.